വെൽക്കം ടു കോൺവെർസേഷൻസിൻ്റെ പുതിയ അധ്യായത്തിലേക്ക് സ്വാഗതം. ഇന്ന് നമ്മളോടൊപ്പം ഉള്ളത് ലോകം മുഴുവൻ പരന്നു കിടക്കുന്ന ഒരു വലിയ ബിസിനസ് സാമ്രാജ്യത്തിൻ്റെ കേരളത്തിലെ മേധാവിയാണ്. 10-16,000 കോടി രൂപ ടേൺ ഓവർ ഹാൻഡിൽ ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു വലിയ സാമ്രാജ്യത്തിൻ്റെ ബിസിനസ് ഹെഡ്. Conversations is all about journeys, and the guests we bring in are all stories in their own capacities. Let us listen to this story. I'm sure it will be inspiring for all of us. Great pride in having this unique gentleman this morning with us, Mr. Narendran. Narendran, welcome to Conversations.
Thank you so much, Sujil. So
it's a delight to have you on this show. ഒത്തിരി കാരണങ്ങളുണ്ട്. ഒന്ന്, ഒരു പഴയ സുഹൃത്തിനെ തിരിച്ച് മുന്നിൽ കിട്ടിയതിൻ്റെ അല്ല, നമുക്കിഷ്ടംപോലെ ഫോറംസ് ഉണ്ടാകാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ടില്ല. പക്ഷേ ഈ ഒരു കോൺവെർസേഷൻസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്ന പല ആളുകളുടെ യാത്രയാണ്. അത് എല്ലാവർക്കും ഉണ്ടൊരു ജേണി. ചിലർക്ക് ഭയങ്കര ഇൻസ്പയറിംഗ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ജേണീസ് ഉണ്ടാവും, ചിലർക്ക് പറയാനൊരു കഥയുണ്ടാവും, ചിലർക്ക് പറയാനായിട്ട് കഥകളുണ്ടാവും. സാധനം ഇതിനകത്ത് നരേന്ദ്രൻ എന്ന ഒരു കോർപ്പറേറ്റ് സാർ എന്നുള്ള കോൺസെപ്റ്റ് അല്ല, നരേന്ദ്രൻ എന്ന വ്യക്തിത്വം കടന്നു വന്ന വഴികൾ. Now to introduce Narendran was a CEO of a multinational company based in Gujarat, CMO of a company based in New Delhi, and today he heads one of the biggest companies in India and heads its state division. He heads a turnover of approximately 10,000 crores. But behind this gentleman, behind all that he has achieved in life in terms of his business and of his professional success, we have a pure man who has led an exemplary journey in life. Narendran എന്ന് പറയുന്ന കോർപ്പറേറ്റ് സാർ, അതായത് യു ഹാവ് ആക്ച്വലി ഡൺ യുവർ ബിഗ് ജേർണി, 27 years of corporate life. Now, ഒറ്റ വാക്കിൽ പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇന്ന് വളരെ അപൂർവം ആളുകൾക്ക് കിട്ടുന്ന ഒരു, പ്രത്യേകിച്ച് ഒരു മലയാളി എന്ന നിലയിൽ, കേരളത്തിൽ ജനിച്ചു വളർന്ന ഒരു മലയാളിക്ക് ഒരു പ്രൈവറ്റ് സെക്ടർ കോർപ്പറേറ്റ് ലൈഫിൽ ഉയരാൻ പറ്റുന്നതിൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും ഉയരത്തിലാണ് നരേന്ദ്രൻ നിന്നിപ്പോൾ. ഇന്ത്യയിൽ തന്നെ ഏറ്റവും മികച്ച 3 കമ്പനികളിൽ ഒരു കമ്പനിയുടെ കേരളത്തിലെ ഹെഡ്. വാട്ട് ഈസ് ദറ്റ് യു ഫീൽ നൗ? What is that sense of feeling that you have when you're introduced as a man who governs a sizable portion of the business?
I think it's a fine experience. It's a fine feeling that I have. But the first thing is that I've come after many years to stay and live with my mother. That's the first feeling. So I keep answering this, why have you come back to Kerala? But I keep replying saying that the biggest thing that I can is to come back and be with my mother, 93-year-old. We keep saying the biggest asset of our family. So that's my first reaction. But again, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's important that you should feel happy about your journey and your success, and I feel extremely excited about it.
നരേന്ദ്രൻ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന ഇപ്പോൾ ഉള്ള സക്സസ്ഫുൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ആളുടെ പുറകിലൊരു ഭയങ്കരമായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു ജേർണി ഉണ്ട്. യു ഹാവ് എ ജേർണി വിച്ച് ഇസ് ഫുൾ ഓഫ് അപ്സ് ആൻഡ് ഡൗൺസ്. I'm sure, like any other person who have risen to this level, you've seen through you've gone through a lot of ups and downs. Now, അതിന് മുമ്പുള്ള ഒരു കാലഘട്ടം, I know there is an inspiring story behind it. Like every person who has climbed the ladders of life, whether we have an MS Dhoni or a Sundar Pichai, all these people have an interesting story to talk about. And I'm sure you have a story too. ഞാൻ മനസ്സിലാക്കുന്ന നരേന്ദ്രൻ ചെറുപ്പകാലത്ത് പാരൻസ് മക്കളില്ലാത്ത ഒരാൾക്ക്, കുടുംബത്തിൽ തന്നെയുള്ള ഒരാൾക്ക് സ്വന്തം കുട്ടിയെ വളർത്താൻ കൊടുത്തു എന്നുള്ളൊരു കഥയുണ്ട്. ആ കഥ ഒന്ന് കേട്ടാവോ?
Looks like you know too much about me. But I'm glad because ഇത്രയും കൊല്ലം കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടും you remember this small talks probably would have had, I don't know, രാജേന്ദ്ര മൈതാനിയിലോ ബോൾഗാട്ടി പാലസിലൊക്കെ അന്ന് കോളേജിൻ്റെ സമയത്ത് നമ്മൾ ഇരുന്നപ്പോൾ പറഞ്ഞ കഥകളായിരിക്കും. There's a lot of that's a truth. I mean, truth doesn't change. Wherever you are, whatever you are, truth is one element which can never change.
അതെ.
You're right. My parents, my father and mother, had 2 children, my elder brother and me. And my mother's younger sister, my aunt, she's an academician, she's no more. And when she was living her spiritual life, but then she felt that, I need somebody to be with me. And my parents also felt that, look, she's staying alone. And avarkkoru company ആരെങ്കിലും വേണം, അവൾ ഒറ്റയ്ക്ക് ജീവിക്കാമല്ലേ എന്ന് ചോദിച്ചിട്ട്. And they bothered to take care of her interest, and then she was excited about having me with her. So I think maybe at the age of 2 or 3 I kind of left with her.
2 വയസ്സ് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ 2-3 വയസ്സിൽ മക്കളില്ലാത്ത സഹോദരിക്ക് വളർത്താൻ കൊടുത്ത ഒരു ജന്മമാണ് ഇരിക്കുന്നത്.
Correct. Yeah, I agree. That's how it is. But that was required. Probably I was destined to support her right from my childhood. I still remember I used to do this, go to the market for her when I was very small, and people used to check out with me saying that you are so small, why are you going to work? I had to say that no.
എത്ര വയസ്സിൽ?
ഒരു 4-5 വയസ്സുള്ളപ്പോൾ I used to walk around, and then പിള്ളേരെ ചോദിക്കും ഇങ്ങനെ, ജനറലി വീട്ടിൽ അച്ഛന്മാരൊക്കെ ഇല്ല, അപ്പോൾ then you have to explain that, ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ ആൻറ്റിയുടെ കൂടെ താമസിക്കുന്നത്, അപ്പം she tells me ഇവിടെയാണ് കട, അപ്പോൾ I used to go there and do all that. That was more of a destiny, and I was supposed to do that, hence I did that. But the reality is that അന്ന് തുടങ്ങിയത് ആ ഒരു ജേർണി, സ്കൂളിൽ പോകുന്ന സമയം, സ്കൂളിൽ നിന്ന് വന്നു കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് വീട്ടിലേക്ക് വെച്ച് കാര്യങ്ങൾ നോക്കുക, probably have kind of made me mature slightly faster than others. But I look at it as a blessing now when I turn back.
അല്ല, ആ സമയത്ത് ആ വളർന്നു വരുന്ന സാഹചര്യങ്ങളിൽ സ്വന്തം അച്ഛനും അമ്മയുമായിട്ടുള്ളൊരു റിലേഷൻഷിപ്പ് എങ്ങനെയായിരുന്നു?
എൻ്റെ അച്ഛനും അമ്മയും ദ വെരി ക്ലിയർ, ദേ സെഡ് ദാറ്റ് ഈ അമ്മയുടെ അനിയത്തി ഇവരെ ഹെൽപ്പ് ചെയ്യുക അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഇവരെ സപ്പോർട്ട് ചെയ്യുക എന്നുള്ളത് അവരുടെ ഒരു ആവശ്യമായിരുന്നു. മൈ പേരൻസ് ഫെൽ ദാറ്റ് ലുക്ക് we have to support her. And during her older age, when this auntie was not well, ഞങ്ങളുടെ വീട്ടിൽ തന്നെയായിരുന്നു താമസിച്ചതും, അസുഖമില്ലാതെ എപ്പോഴും, പിന്നെ അവസാനം മരിച്ചതൊക്കെ അവിടെ വെച്ചായിരുന്നു. എൻ്റെ ബ്രദറും ഒക്കെയാണ് നോക്കിയതും. അപ്പോൾ അന്നേ ആ ഒരു ഫീലിംഗ് ഫോർ അതേഴ്സ് പ്രോബ്ലി എൻ്റെ പാരൻസിന് ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു കാണണം, അതിപ്പോഴും അവർക്കുണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ എൻ്റെ അമ്മയൊക്കെ എന്നും ബോതേർഡ് അബൌട്ട് അതേഴ്സ് ബിഫോർ ടേക്കിംഗ് കെയർ ഓഫ് അസ്. അപ്പോൾ ആ ഒരു ഉത്തരവാദിത്വ ബോധം എന്നിൽ നേരത്തെ ഉണ്ട്. എന്നെ വിട്ടേക്കുന്നത് ഒരു അജണ്ടയായിട്ടാണ്. എൻ്റെ അച്ഛനും അമ്മ എന്നെ വിട്ടേക്കുന്നത് ഈ ആൻറ്റിയുടെ കാര്യം ഒന്ന് നോക്കണം, എല്ലാ കാര്യങ്ങളും. അപ്പോൾ ഇറസ്പെക്റ്റീവ് ഓഫ് മൈ ഏജ്, ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് പ്രോബ്ലി ദ ഗ്രൂമിങ് ഐ ഗോട്ട് ഫ്രം ദം. അപ്പം എന്നെ സംബന്ധിച്ച് ആദ്യത്തെ അജണ്ട ഇതാണ്, പിന്നെയാണ് അച്ഛനും അമ്മയും. സോ ഓണത്തിനും വിഷുവിനും ഒക്കെ നമ്മൾ ഹോളിഡേയ്സിനൊക്കെ ഇവിടെ വരുമ്പോൾ ഐ കം ഹിയർ ലൈക്ക് വിത്ത് എ റിപ്പോർട്ട് കാർഡ്. ഇതൊക്കെയാണ് ഞാൻ ചിറ്റിക്ക് ചെയ്തത്, ഇതൊക്കെയാണ് ഞങ്ങൾ ചെയ്യണം, ദിസ് ഇസ് വാട്ട് ഐ എം ഡൂയിങ്. And they used to ask me questions, and it used to be more like I'm their man sent for an agenda, sent for a task. That used to be. But my mother has പിന്നീട് അമ്മ എന്നോട് പല തവണയും പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട് ഇങ്ങനെ, ഞാൻ അങ്ങനെ മഴയൊക്കെ പെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ഇടിവെട്ട് ഞാൻ അങ്ങനെ വിചാരിക്കും, നീ കുട്ടിയല്ലേ, നീ എവിടെ ഏത് സ്കൂളിൽ നിന്ന് വീട്ടിൽ വന്നോ എന്നൊക്കെ അങ്ങനെ ആലോചിക്കാറുണ്ട്. So she tells me even now, 93, she keeps telling me that as a kid, നീ ഇങ്ങനെ ഒറ്റയ്ക്ക് അവിടെയൊക്കെ നടക്കുന്നതൊക്കെ ഞാനിങ്ങനെ ആലോചിക്കും, എപ്പോഴും പ്രാർത്ഥിക്കും. സോ ഐ തിങ്ക് ഐ വുഡ് സേ ദ റിലേഷൻഷിപ്പ് വിത്ത് മൈ പേരൻസ് വർ ലിറ്റിൽ ബിയോണ്ട് ജസ്റ്റ് എ യങ്ങർ സൺ. അങ്ങനെ ഐ ഓൾസോ ഇനീഷ്യലി മനസ്സിലായിരുന്നില്ല വൈ ആർ ദേ നോട്ട് ടേക്കിംഗ് കെയർ ഓഫ് മീ ലൈക്ക് ദേ ടേക്ക് കെയർ ഓഫ് മൈ ബ്രദർ. ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് എ വെരി നാച്ചുറൽ ക്വസ്റ്റ്യൻ ദാറ്റ് ഒരു 5-6 വയസ്സ് ചോദിക്കുന്നതാണ്. പക്ഷെ then I understood that it was probably what they wanted me to do, and I was lucky that I could to a great extent live up to their expectations.
Yeah, but did they ever tell you that they regretted having sent their only, their younger child, for this kind of a life?
No, they always told me that that it is our job, especially my father. He used to tell me very clearly. My father, before he died, he just told 2 things. One is to take care of this aunt of mine, and second is to take care of my brother, who is who's
actually older than you.
Older than me. So these are 2 things he just told me openly, saying that, look, 2 things. You don't worry about your mother. Your mother is safe because I served for Indian Army and government will take care of your mother, but your aunt and your brother, you have to take care. So this things echoes, you know, this always, whenever right from my childhood, that has been something which has been as top of my mind always, wherever I am, whichever part of the world, whatever portfolio I handle. But this responsibility was always there in my mind. So they have told me, they have very, very categorically told me that we are expecting you to take care of this. Please do that.
Looking back, do you think it was a spiritual journey that you had to undergo, or was it a very lonesome life that you led? Did you ever feel?
I think
what was it that you look back? ആ സമയത്തുള്ളൊരു സാഹചര്യത്തിലേക്ക് നമുക്ക് പിന്നെ വരാം. ഇപ്പോൾ എന്ത് തോന്നുന്നു when you look at that journey, ആ ഒരു പീരിയഡിൽ, especially ആ formative years, from a toddler ആണ്, 3 വയസ്സെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ അമ്മയാരും അച്ഛനായിരുന്നൊക്കെ അറിഞ്ഞു വരുന്ന ഒരു പീരീഡാണ്. ആ സമയത്താണ് ഇങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരു
ഒരുപാട് കോൺഫ്ലിക്റ്റ് ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുണ്ട്. What you said is right. A lot of conflicts in mind saying, see, I had to answer. The biggest problem is that you're right. ചെറിയ പ്രായത്തിൽ യു എൻഡ് അപ്പ് ആൻസറിങ് യുവർ പിയേഴ്സ്, കൂടെ പഠിക്കുന്ന കുട്ടികളുടെ അടുക്കെ അച്ഛനും അമ്മ അവിടെ, അപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ ഇങ്ങനെ താമസിക്കുന്നു, എൻ്റെ അമ്മയുടെ സിസ്റ്ററിൻ്റെ കൂടെ. I had to explain a lot of things, which is not a very pleasant thing to do. What is there? I'm actually living with my aunt and she needs support, and I'm actually if you look at it, I was doing some kind of, at that age, some big thing, great thing by keeping away from my parents, but at the same time I know that they are my parents and living here. അപ്പോൾ അന്നൊരു വളരെ ഒരു ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടിയ ഒരു കാലഘട്ടം ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു. എനിക്ക് തോന്നുന്നു ഒരു ഹൈസ്കൂൾ വരെയൊക്കെ ഇറ്റ് വാസ് എ ഡിഫിക്കൽട്ട് ജേർണി ടു എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ, ബിക്കോസ് ചോദിക്കുന്ന കുട്ടികൾക്കും വലിയ വിവരമില്ല, കൊച്ചുകുട്ടികളാണ്. അപ്പോൾ അവരോട് എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യുക, അവരെ സംബന്ധിച്ച് അച്ഛനെ അമ്മയെ വിട്ടു നിൽക്കുക എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ ആലോചിക്കാൻ പോലും പറ്റാത്ത കാര്യമാണ്. അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യാണ്, നമ്മൾ വി ആർ ലിവിങ് അവേ ബിക്കോസ് വി ഹാവ് ടു ടേക്ക് കെയർ all those things. So that was a bit of a, നമുക്ക് എന്നും വൈകുന്നേരം നമ്മൾ ഇതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് ആലോചിക്കും. That, you know,
did you feel lonely?
Oh yes, big time. I mean, you just have this lady and she is a very spiritually inclined, always with books and reading, and she's also an academician, so it was always like that. And I never had a peer or a brother or sister or a sibling to play around with. Then because she is spiritual, the relatively less number of guests home.
Okay.
So it was more like a ashram kind of an atmosphere for us. Today maybe you'll enjoy it. Yeah, that gave you a lot of insights. Today you are not scared of being alone. That's a different story. But at that time you asked a very pertinent question. It was not okay for a child to grow up like that, and the child should have company. Maybe a few hours in the school would be a gush of oxygen for the child.
Yeah,
but rest of the time it's a big, to me it's like a relief, you know. Otherwise what will I do at home, you know? I'm all alone.
ആ കോളേജിൽ പഠിക്കുന്ന കാലത്തും I know I've heard stories about you starting work at a very early age and then coming to college.
Yeah.
What was that experience?
The same time when both of us entered in the same college, it was like azadi, you know. It's like complete freedom and you could do a lot of things. So the job was again an extension of the earlier story, you know,
okay.
Because you have to take care of her, and you do not want to depend on your parents. So my parents had their own, living. So I was particular that I don't depend on my parents to take care of my aunt. So then
അവര് അയച്ച ദൗത്യത്തിൽ നിന്ന് മാറി.
It
became your own
yeah
journey,
absolutely, you're right
without you even knowing about it.
Yeah, I agree. And that's how it happened actually. Yes, now I'm what do you call that, that's the truth, that they wanted me to give her a company and be her son.
അതായത് you were sent as a എന്താണ് പറയാ, ഒരു ഊന്നുവടി,
അതെ, ഒരു സപ്പോർട്ട്.
ആ ഊന്നുവടി കുറച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ you became the provider, you became the be all and end all of that house.
That's how I think, you know, when these kind of responsibilities in life, I think as I grew up in my career also, some of these responsibility you take it beyond that responsibility is called, because you work for an organization. Sometimes you may have to do a lot of things for the society also.
True.
So I still remember we had in a company that I used to work in the early 2000. That organization had some CSR fund. You can have an NGO, you can pay them some money. But somehow we all employees together, I was heading that unit, so we decided that we will provide, the woolen blankets for those who are needy. In Delhi,
Of course, yes.
nobody
Climate gets into extremes.
extreme climate. So then we started doing it. You won't believe, we spend more than the company's CSR budget because employees started, their families started working. So it's like, huge set of people in the Noida and Meerut highways, people used to go in the middle of the night, because middle of the night is when you really see a person who is in need of a woolen cloth. So I keep
-10.
-3, 4 easier to wear. I was just saying that sometimes when you really get involved in certain things, then you go beyond your normal responsibilities. It becomes part of you. Then you feel that see, it's not about giving her company, it's all taking care of her, her fooding, clothing, my studies. I think all this we should do. So that probably came to me a little early in life. So I started working, and then college was like it's a, what do you call, super freedom experience.
But the Narendran that I know, you never took that freedom for your greater advantage. You never went out of the way, and freaked out, as a student. What people tell you, tell me about you, who were part of your immediate circle, that you were very responsible, even those days. You were very responsible, even with that frugal living that you had those days. You still was a happy person. I've never seen you as a sad person or somebody who had a lonesome അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ലോൺലി ലൈഫ് സ്റ്റൈൽ എന്ന് വരുന്ന ഒരാളായിട്ട് ഒരിക്കലും ഒരാളും കണ്ടിട്ടുണ്ടാവില്ല. എല്ലാവരും they've seen you as a very happy child, very chirpy, ആവശ്യത്തിൽ സംസാരിക്കും, നല്ല സൗഹൃദം ഉള്ള ആളുകൾ, ഒത്തിരി ചിരിച്ച് സംസാരിക്കുന്ന ഒരാൾ. Now where did that come from?
That has got to do with the college life. I told you freedom. Freedom എന്ന് പറയുമ്പം എൻ്റെ ആ ഒരു ലൈഫിൽ നിന്ന് ഏർലിയർ ലൈഫ് വെയർ മോർ ലൈക്ക് എ ലോൺലി ചൈൽഡ്. അങ്ങനെ വളർന്നു വന്ന് ഞാൻ പെട്ടെന്ന് കോളേജിലെത്തുന്നു. കോളേജിലെത്തുമ്പോൾ പീപ്പിൾ ലൈക്ക് യു, ഫ്രണ്ട്സ്, ബോയ്സ്, ഗേൾസ്, യങ് ടീച്ചേഴ്സ്, യങ് professors and all these people, so suddenly from a lonely, ഒരു gloomy ആയിട്ടുള്ള അടുത്ത് നിന്ന് I've come into a very colorful place. And I still remember കളമശ്ശേരിയും സെൻറ്റ് പോൾസും ഒക്കെ അറിയാവുന്നവർക്ക് അറിയാം, ആ ബസ് സ്റ്റോപ്പിൽ നിന്ന് നടപ്പ്. കഴിഞ്ഞ ആഴ്ച I happened to buy a new vehicle. അപ്പം ഞാൻ നമ്മുടെ കോളേജിൻ്റെ മുമ്പിൽ വണ്ടി ഇട്ടിട്ട് തിരിച്ചിങ്ങോട്ട് നടന്നു. ഐ എം ടോക്കിംഗ് അബൌട്ട് 15 days back.
To relive
the experience. The roads have changed, the side, all that have changed. But going through that government polytechnic in the side കൂടി നടന്ന് നമ്മുടെ കോളേജിലേക്ക് ആ ഒരു ജേർണി ഉണ്ടല്ലോ, that was probably the most, even today, most colorful days that I've had. ആ നടത്തം ഒരു 15-20 minutes you just walk away. Even though it's actually about 7-8 minutes walk, you generally take about 20-25 minutes to പതുക്കെ നടന്ന് you keep talking to every Tom, Dick and Harry. So what I'm saying is that that actually brought a lot of color into my life. That made me really happy, cheerful.
Now you talked about working. What was that you were doing while you were in college?
I used to work for a hotel. It was a 3-star hotel near Ernakulam railway station. A nice hotel. So there they have a trainee format, which means young intern type of thing. So that is a job where you get in at 5 o'clock. You are the front office receptionist. So front office, okay. And then you work through the night and then get out in the morning.
You are awake throughout the night.
Yeah, obviously you have, because it's a hotel, so it operates 24 hours.
And how old were you? 16, 17?
And I was just about 17, just about, not even 18, because I was a trainee. I was not an employee, because you have to be 18 to become an employee. So I used to work there. So college ends at what? നമ്മുടെ ഒരു 2 മണിക്കൊക്കെ. I used to go, I used to have a small apartment on rent, my own apartment, where me and my aunt stays. So it's a 1 bedroom with a covered, veranda and all that. So I used to sleep in the veranda, and she used to be in the room, and a small kitchen and washroom. And I used to go there, so 2:30 I reach home and I sleep till about 5:30. By about 6 o'clock I should be there in the hotel. So 6 to you work till the next day morning, and then about 9:30 you reach home. I think about 8 o'clock you leave, 9:30 you are back in the college. Yeah, college. 9:30, or maybe you might skip an hour or so. But then I can take, so then that's almost a 16 hours cut across 2 days. So one fag end of last 8 hours of a day, and the first 8 hours the second day.
The next day, yeah.
So 2 hours. That evening I'm free. So that evening I don't have to go to work. So that 16 hours I work, which is 8 and 8, and that night I am on my own. I can sleep well, I can go to my friends. So it's more like an 15 days of work and 15 days of kind of break. But eventually you end up working for 30 days because of this. So it's a funny combination, but that is the best for me.
I know.
Because I used to get a day break.
Okay.
It's just that one day I have to work overnight, which is fine. So, and then it's very important that I get free days because I have to go to college. So that's how it worked, and that continued. I was a friend of his receptionist there. Then I became a friend of his supervisor. By the time I completed my graduation, I was assistant manager, friend of his.
Fantastic.
So that is a 5 years journey.
Fantastic.
And of which I think 2 years was pre-university and 3 years of university, and then I moved out of hotel industry.
So were you spiritually, was it the spirituality that you surrounded yourself from that early age that helped you, become so emotionally strong? കാരണം ഇതൊരു ആ ഒരു പർട്ടിക്കുലർ ആ ഒരു കാലഘട്ടത്തിൽ ഒരു ചെറുപ്പക്കാരന് ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റുന്നൊരു പരിപാടിയല്ല ഇത്. ഈ അടുപ്പിച്ച് ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ് 16 മണിക്കൂർ വർക്ക് ചെയ്യുക, അത് 16 മണിക്കൂർ ഉണർന്നിരിക്കുക, 8 മണിക്കൂർ ജോലിയും 8 മണിക്കൂർ കോളേജിലും, അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് വന്ന് കുറച്ച് നേരം ഉറങ്ങുക, പിന്നെ ഒരു ദിവസം ഓഫ് എടുക്കുക. ഇതൊക്കെ ഒരു സാധാരണ ഒരാൾക്ക് പറ്റുന്ന ഒരു പണിയുമല്ല സംഭവം. അപ്പോൾ ഇത് what was that? Was it the money that was it really funding your existence ആ സമയത്ത്?
Two things. One is initially, if you look at it, the initial stage when why did you start working? Very, very clearly, as I told you, I felt that I should take care of my aunt, and I need money for that. I don't need to take help from my parents. So it was a requirement for money.
Okay.
Very, very clearly. Number two is that I always felt that after maybe a few days or few months of working, I felt that earning and learning, that combination, is a very, very, very proud thing. I was feeling very good, and you guys used to feel like that. Oh, he is the only one who is working types. Huh? So in the college also you have a slightly above average, feeling. So
ആ ഒരു കാലത്ത് അച്ഛനമ്മമാര് മാത്രമാണ് ജോലി ചെയ്യുന്നത്, പിന്നെയുള്ള ഒരാൾ ജോലി ചെയ്യുന്നത് നമ്മുടെ കൂടെ പഠിക്കുന്ന ഒരാളാണ് ജോലി ചെയ്യുന്നത്. അപ്പൊ നമുക്കൊക്കെ ഈ ചുറ്റുമുള്ള ആളുകൾക്കൊക്കെ ഇതൊരു ഭയങ്കര ഒരു അത്ഭുതമായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു കാര്യമാണ്.
അതെ, അപ്പൊ അതെനിക്കൊരു വലിയ ഒരു കിക്ക്, യു ഗെറ്റ് ദ കിക്ക്. സോ ലൈക്ക് correct, I'm like
and spending your own
money, all that is so that അതൊരു ഒരു internal excitement അതുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. Then I found
internal excitement or a sense of pride?
Yeah, sense of pride. It's a so it's a sense. Actually, it's a sense of pride which give me that. I was excited about doing it. So every next day, after you get in for a X number of hours of work, you feel that look, I'm going to do it. I know my friends are sleeping, but so that feeling was always there. Then that money was good. Actually, if you look at it, those days I used to make about 500 rupees. And 500 rupees a month was actually big money.
Yeah, for a youngster those days.
Yeah.
So extrapolate ചെയ്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ 500 rupees
it's about 26,000, 27,000 rupees.
ഇപ്പൊ ഉണ്ടാവും.
Yeah, so six times. So 5 into 6, about 30,000 rupees. So I'm saying, okay, inflation, reflation, all that happened. So 25,000 rupees salary for a
college പഠിക്കുന്ന ഒരു കുട്ടിയാണ്.
Yeah, absolutely. It's big money. And I used to spend about 150 rupees as rent.
Okay.
And then about I think my studies I used to spend very less, maybe about 50, 60 whatever money. Yeah. And I used to get my dad was in the army, so I used to get a scholarship because I used to get some above X% of marks, then you get some scholarship.
Okay.
So
okay.
actually my study was by and large taken
Okay.
care of by the government of India.
Okay.
And this money I used to spend on my aunt and our household expenses and a little bit of dress, of course some entertainment here and there. So I think I had that way a very comfortable, cushy life. Of course a bit of, when you really feel bad about sometimes, occasionally I used to feel this, that on a festival day, on a holiday, the hotel has to be bubbly.
Has to be
The
bubbly.
hotels,
Okay.
yeah. So you find a lot of guests coming in and you're on your uniform and working, So sometimes I feel that this is more like a defense professional's life, where everybody is
You're
celebrating.
24/7, you're on duty.
You're on duty. So that sometimes used to be a kind of a sad situation, for a New Year Eve when you want to go, you friends there outside, but then I have to stay back because I'm on duty. So these kind of small, but I think that's part of life. Coming back to this question of being spiritual, we are from a spiritual background. The whole family is for a few generations, 2-3 generations, we have that affinity and we are all very close to that. But my case, I was not a spiritual person that way, but I was God-fearing, and I was lucky enough to have read a lot of books those days whenever I get time, especially during those night hours. So till about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the night, you have a lot of guests coming, going, all that. Then between about 1 to around 4 o'clock, so 6 o'clock is the first train from Cochin, which normally goes to Trivandrum, and then one goes to. So 6 o'clock, if somebody has to board a train, the person will have to check out on the hotel.
4:35.
So 4 o'clock. So 1 to 4. So let's say 12:30 to about 4:30. That 4-5 hours, I used to get. I could read. You cannot sleep because you are on duty. So that time I used to pick up a lot of the spiritual books from my aunt, and I used to read, and we used to get. You may not understand everything, but at that time you could read. So that brought in a lot of what you said is right. A lot of things that unknowingly went inside, which would have helped my life after that. So
ഇതൊന്നും ദുരിതങ്ങളല്ല, ഇത് നമ്മുടെ ലൈഫിൽ ആ ഒരു പർട്ടിക്കുലർ ഫേസ് ഓഫ് ലൈഫ്. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടുള്ള യുവർ എൻട്രി ഇൻ ടു കോർപ്പറേറ്റ്, into the corporate world, where you have served with great distinction over the last 26 years now?
Yeah, 27
years old. 27 years of corporate career. How did that happen? ഈ ഒരു ആ ചെറുപ്പത്തിലുള്ള ഒരു ജോലി ചെയ്യാനുള്ള ഒരു മനസ്സ് അതാണോ, അതോ you were in a private sector, you had this hang of being part of a private sector hospitality industry, where you need to hone your soft skills. You need to be well behaved, you need to be well dressed, you need to have those etiquettes. Did it help you walk into a private sector job at a very early age?
Yes. We all hail from a small town in Kerala. I was further inside in a smaller village in Kerala. ആലുവ അപ്പുറത്തുള്ള കൊച്ചു സ്ഥലം. അവിടെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന മലയാളം മീഡിയം സ്കൂളുകളാണ്. ഐ വാസ് ലക്കി ദാറ്റ് ഐ could do slightly better school nearby. I still go to that school.
Okay. So you want to name the school and the place?
It's Vidyadhiraja Vidya Bhavan school at Alua.
Okay.
അപ്പം അവിടെ so I still go there. And that is a good school, a lot of English. That life has not been so great because I had my own problems of, again I told you, living alone with my aunt and all that issues. But അവിടുന്ന് നമ്മൾ when you get into a corporate life, ഈ ഇംഗ്ലീഷിലൊന്നും പറയാനൊക്കെ ഭയങ്കര ബുദ്ധിമുട്ട്. നമുക്ക് ഇംഗ്ലീഷൊന്നും ആരും പഠിപ്പിക്കാനില്ലല്ലോ. അങ്ങനെ ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ഇൻ ദ സെൻസ് സ്പീക്കിംഗ് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ്, സ്പീക്കിംഗ് കോൺഫിഡൻ്റ്ലി ഇംഗ്ലീഷ്, ദീസ് ആർ ഓൾ
മലയാളം മീഡിയമാണ്.
മലയാളം കൂടുതലും മലയാളം. ഇപ്പം ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിലും ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് പഠിപ്പിക്കുന്നവർ ഇപ്പോൾ ഈ മലയാളത്തിൽ നിന്ന് ഇംഗ്ലീഷ് പഠിച്ച ടീച്ചേഴ്സാണ്. അപ്പോൾ നമുക്കൊരു കോൺഫിഡൻ്റ് ആയിട്ട് ഒരാളോട് സംസാരിക്കാനോ, നമ്മുടെ വീട്ടിലും ഇംഗ്ലീഷൊന്നും സംസാരിക്കില്ല. സോ ദ ഹോട്ടൽ ലൈഫ് gave me hundreds of teachers, because every day you end up meeting, what you said is right, you have to be courteous, well dressed, all that is fine, but then speaking in English to a non-Malayali
Okay. That became a
was
necessity.
Absolutely, and I get it free of cost. I mean, I'm a student.
Ade.
I do study accountancy and commerce and economics in the classroom. I come here and study English fluently. You know, you speak to Indians, international tourists, Karnataka, Andhra, Hindi, Tamil. Everybody is at your, you don't have to pay even 1 rupee to travel to Delhi to learn Hindi.
Hindi, correct.
It's all coming here. So that was one biggest, I would say, more than sometimes the salary or other benefits or other excitement I said.
So that way when you look at it, the salary was a plus.
Salary actually a bonus. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you got to meet a lot of people. And most of these guys were from sales background, business background.
Young people?
Yeah, a lot of this, see, that time, the biggest room was costing 225 rupees, I still remember, 220 plus tax was the rent. So, which means a young executive who has got a budget of about anything between 100, 150, and a senior guy with about 250 rupees, they can come and stay there. You end up interacting with a lot of these people, and that give you two things. One is huge exposure to rest of the world, beyond Kerala, beyond the city of Cochin, beyond that hotel. You travel all over the world, sitting there. Today you can call it virtual travel.
Virtual travel.
So there are people.
Those cities come to you.
A lot of them. And in my initial days of my career, a lot of these people have helped me as well, because they knew I was more like their guide to Kerala. So and we used to have very good relationship. So that's another advantage. How it helped me corporate is purely the exposure to rest of the world beyond Kerala, beyond Kochi, and the whatever little English, Hindi I can speak is all contribution from this hotel job.
And how did you land up in your first job, first proper job after completing your studies?
Oh, that's interesting, and I think I can be open about it now. I was working for a small. So after the hotel life, I had a brilliant. Let me tell you, the owners of that hotel were so kind enough to accommodate me for 5 years, because 5 years, every year, 3 months or 2 months at least, I need to go on a break for my exams.
Okay.
And they used to allow me. They used to allow me, and then when I'm through the exams, I used to call them up and tell them that, look, I'm through the exams. So they used to take me back, and I think over 35 years of association, I'm still in touch with that family. I've been invited even for the latest marriage in that family. So that way, I would say they're a very senior person who is the father of the family. I think I would have had all the blessings from them. I believe that. Suppose that I decided that this hotel industry is important. Either I should get a professional qualification in the hotel industry, or I should move out into something. So then I started doing a bit of my online. Those days it was not online. It's correspondence MBA.
Okay.
After my graduation, somehow my work and schedule didn't allow. But then I got into a sales executive of a distributor in Kochi. So he used to be a chemical distributor. So I used to sell those chemicals and cleaning material and all that. Somehow a senior colleague there said that, look, I think you can, your profile fits into slightly bigger organization. So he was also working there. So we were like, I said, but people, you need to have some contacts. He said, no. And it so happened that one of his cousin, who used to work in a professional organization, had quit, and he was starting a real estate business.
Okay.
And this guy came and told me that, he's a senior colleague and I respect him a lot. He came and said that, look, there is a vacancy in this company, it's a professional company, why don't you join? And I was traveling for some place I was traveling. He and the gentleman, there was a typist there. Both of them made a CV, and the CV went to the organization without my signature.
Without your signature?
I see. I've not signed it. I've not signed it. And when I called the office, those days there's no mobile, so you had to call the landlines. When I called and I was speaking to them, they said, we have sent your biodata, let's see. And I was like, how many biodatas you keep sending? So there are many companies who have rejected your. So finally, one day I'm getting a message, an envelope saying that we have been called for an interview, and I had an interview and I was selected in the company to serve in Kochi. But by the time my appointment order came, I was supposed to join in Chennai.
Okay.
For some reason. But then they honored. They said that, no, I think we liked you. Why don't you join? So that happened in early 90s. And that's how the journey started.
And you started as a sales professional. Yeah. Now, do you think that being in sales and being in hardcore sales, dealing with people, dealing with multiple kinds of people, did it help you in your journey, in your corporate journey from that early life?
Yeah, one is that, as I told you, my experience with people from different parts of the world, different parts of the people speaking. I was in Chennai, so people speaking in Tamil was not strange for me. First time out of. I've seen people,
heard the language.
Yeah, I used to have a senior manager who is from North India, so he used to speak Hindi, and so it was somewhere. I had that experience with the senior people, and you also in the hotel you learned how to deal with senior people. So you might have a junior guy who is staying in a hotel there, or a tourist staying in a hotel there, but you also have a very senior professional staying there. So you need to kind of regulate yourself. You kind of
yeah.
So that helped me quite a bit. And of course, I think I did quite well in sales. I could convince. I never had to tell too much of a lie to sell anything, because I used to work for very good brands. Very very prominent, genuine. High quality, high standard brands. So selling was not a challenge. Of course, there were challenges, but that was not a problem. So I could do well there, and I could also kind of communicate well, or gel well with the organization managers. So these were all important,
Yeah, very true. Now, to take a cue from what you said earlier, you started you did your schooling in a Malayalam medium school. Now, this gentleman who did his studies all his life, who did his schooling in a Malayalam medium school, it will be fascinating to know that today he has done programs in Harvard, he has done programs in INSEAD in France, and he's also done a program in the best institution in the country, the IMA, the IIM Ahmedabad. Now, how do you find this journey? This is a big shift, a huge transition from that early part of life into this new phase in life.
No, absolutely. From a small school in a village to this. See, if you ask me, I believe in destiny. There are certain things that you have to do. You are expected to do it that way. But then I don't kind of discount my efforts in this.
True. Definitely it is your journey, because you are the person who has actually worked hard, and to be there. And what was that capacity or capability that you had, that made you look different? Because I'm sure that you were competing, or you were being compared to a lot of people who were your peers. It wasn't a lonely journey for you all this while to reach where you are. There have been a lot of people who are equally talented or equally experienced, or if not more. But what do you think is that plus that got you kicking and got you into this current stage in your life? See, coming back to comparing the early phase of life, studying in a Malayalam medium school. No, Malayalam medium school in the vannattulla in India. But TN Session, our former president of India, K.R. Narayan also studied in, these are stalwarts who studied in Malayalam medium schools. And there are a lot of people who studied up north in Hindi medium schools who have actually governed India in different capacities. So there's nothing wrong in coming from a school which who taught you in your vernacular. But to enter a corporate life from a Malayalam medium school and to rise up to being the head of the business at a state level, looking at about 10,000, 15,000 crores of business, that needs a different nerve altogether. I'm sure you would have competed either knowingly or unknowingly with a lot of people in your same bracket who are talented as you are, as experienced as you are, what do you think made you eligible to reach this far?
I think it's a big question, no? Not a question mark, but it's a big question because it requires a big answer. Two things. One is, I don't know whether you remember, I used to be in NCC in college.
Yeah.
NCC actually, I was adjudged as the best cadet during my college days, all over Kerala, a lot of cadet. NCC taught me two things, which I don't know how many of this generation goes to an NCC from a bigger schools. You know, if you really look at categorized school between so-called big schools and small schools, I rarely find students from big school going to NCC. NCC is one large organization which is a huge inspiration for many people. So in that life you learn two things. One is how can you live a disciplined life, how can you organize yourself and live a disciplined life, number one. Number two is that how can you be a good leader. So these two things I probably would have learned. So when you say discipline and leadership, it talks a lot about competition, because when you say you are disciplined, you're not just one human being and living the way exactly you want. You know, you're living with hundreds of cadets.
Precisely.
So I've attended many camps. 21-day camp. I've attended annual camps in outside Kerala, within Kerala. So all these camps, you are living with a lot of people, and you have to every day, right from getting up and hitting the washroom, you are competing.
Correct.
On one side in this college, when you compete, you don't have so much of competition there, but still, you want to be there seen as.
It's more to do with coexistence.
Correct.
You're coexisting with a lot of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in that, you need to be a shade better. So when you are out in the field for your morning exercise, can you reach a second before rest of the crowd? If you are going for something, can your turnout be slightly better than others? Eventually, my experience is that in that probably 2 years of that, I became the best cadet of the state, which was more than my trainer's requirement than mine. It was actually his probably goal.
Yeah,
and he used to always, because I am middle of too many things. I have my studies, I have my work. So he used to be from Gurkha regiment, a Subedar major. So anyway, I had a love for my defense life. So he was particular that I become the best cadet. So it was his. But that coaching and training has helped you to be competitive right through your life. Right through your life, you do not want to be a laggard. You don't want to be seen behind
as one of them.
Yeah, you can you not do slightly better than rest of the crowd? Can you not do slightly better than rest of the situations in any situation? These are few things that I probably was there in me, and it just happens. So I think I've always think, when I think back, to me the leadership learnings are from NCC.
Now they say leaders, or rather I'll see it from a different perspective. They say a huge comparison between being a good manager and a good leader. They say managers push and extract, whereas a good leader pulls and expects. Where do you find yourself in between? Were you a good leader manager or a good manager leader?
Let me tell you, this is again my, I've written it sometime, but let me quote it. There are two types of managers. There are know-how managers and there are show-how managers.
Okay.
The know-how manager is one guy who knows. Yeah, he knows actually. I'm not demeaning any managers that way. He knows the subject. He knows what to do, when to do, what not to do. So they're good managers. But I personally feel that the second set of show-how managers, these are the managers who are out of the field.
I know.
So hands-on. He doesn't look at the number of stars on his shoulder. He just be with the team there in the front. It could be an issue where he's not able to sell. Then you go there and help him sell. It could be an issue where he has to pick up a property, but he doesn't know how to do because we have to start a project. So maybe it could be that. by a building or an issue with the public or a government regulatory issue. All these cases at various capacities in your life, I feel that the show managers are able to influence the team better than the know-how managers. Know-how managers can, but end of the day there's a question mark. I understand you can speak all this and you really don't know how it works in the field. He may not ask you that question. The manager should be intelligent enough to understand that, look, this is what he's talking. Let me also go out with him and spend some time in the market with him. That show managers to me are the true leaders. So leadership has to be absolutely leading. The word itself is leading, from that.
True.
So that's my definition of leadership, especially in the corporate sector.
Now we talked about your corporate life. Corporate life, now every corporate life for that matter, be it junior management, middle management or senior management, corporate life also has its own definitions of being successful. Some are extremely happy with the money they make. Some of them are extremely happy with the facilities that they enjoy. Some of them are also people who know how to balance their life between their needs and wants. Now for you, how do you think a corporate life has made you happier?
Let me tell you, my experience in corporate life is, in fact, my wife is also from a corporate background, though she recently left corporate and she's into something else. Corporate life, see, you are there for a purpose. Let's accept it. If you are employed by an organization, then you are there for a purpose. And that purpose, point number one for me, has to be a legitimate, decent, good job. You are not supposed to do something which is not okay. You should do live to the law of land, live to the benefit of the society. I mean, I am not excited about selling something which is not required, essential for the society. I am excited about selling or building an infrastructure or something which is really useful to the society. So that is the second kick, which I get. Is it useful for the society? What I am doing or what I am serving or what I sell or whatever. The third one is that organization gives you enough space to make mistakes. See, you have not, I don't think none of us have learned everything and none of us have experienced everything. We can write books, we can talk for hours together, like I told you, we can be know-how managers. But end of the day, today at this point in time, how is the ecosystem, the people around you, the universe is going to deal with you, you have no idea.
Correct.
So an organization which allows you to make mistake, to me, makes a lot of sense.
It's the ideal space.
Absolutely. And that brings out a lot of your creativity, a lot of things that you have not tried out in the past, you are able to try out, and then probably, if you are lucky, you will always be successful. If you are lesser lucky, you may make mistakes, and I feel that making mistakes is also important. And then the rest of the learning that you have is benefiting the organization, the society, and even more important, it benefits yourself big time.
Precisely. So if I ask you to choose between financial success and social success in your career, what would you choose between?
I would say the first of my close to 30 years or 26, 27 years of my career, but definitely first 10 to 12 years it was finance. And then subsequently it was completely how I could value add to the society and the people around us.
Excellent. But at the same time, with all this paraphernalia and all the benefits that come with the corporate life, it also, I have seen, affect corporate people. A lot of lifestyle issues, diseases, stress-induced issues, sleeping disorders, interpersonal issues, marital discords. All this happens because of an extremely profession-driven lifestyle. It's work, and work all the time. How do you think do you think you have an answer to this? How do you balance your life?
So two answers to this. One is a statement. It's not an answer. Statement goes like this: that for almost last maybe 2.5, it's slowly changing. 2.5, 3 decades. In Indian private sector used to work like work, and balance his life. That used to be the definition of work-life balance.
True.
And having worked for some of the global companies, you realize that it is not about that. And some of the best companies, the biggest companies I'm associated with, believes in family first.
Excellent.
So I mean, I am proud to associate with an organization which says, first take care of your family. In all our meetings, the discussion starts saying that, are you safe? Is the family safe? I'm saying now the COVID stage. So, so that's a fundamental of the whole thing. Now coming to the work part of it, see, if work is all about money and how many hours do I work, if you as you enter you look at the watch and you come out you look, I don't think that person is enjoying the work.
True.
If you cannot enjoy the work, might as well switch it off and then try for something else. There are certain set of people who are perpetually, by design, they will worry and stress, and so such people, please don't blame that on the work. That's your problem. If you sitting in the balcony enjoying a hot coffee, seeing the rain, still you stress.
Yeah.
That's your problem. Now coming back to work, see, you asked me specifically about I keep telling I have 3 W's: work, worship, and workout. These 3 things are very important. When you say work, and that work is what I was trying to define, saying that it's something which you should do, which you like to do. If you do not like something, then I think you should not do. You should switch it off that day. And you do not like it maybe because you don't like the product that you are selling, or you don't like the project that you are working, the place you are working, the boss you are working with, the subordinates you are working with, the language that, so many things could be not okay with you. Such a situation, don't unnecessarily pressurize yourself on that. There are ways and means if you are determined to do something. So you can look at some other option and you can do that. I'm not talking about shifting a company to company to company. I'm not talking about that. What I'm saying is that, or shifting from a boss to boss to, no. What I'm saying is that if you think your interest is to, let's say, work out and health and fitness, look at an organization which does that. You love cooking, and you try out all these things. And it's nothing wrong in trying to get a kind of a training on that, and try to work for an organization which sells food. So what I'm saying is that most of the time people are confused between what you like to do and what you have got as one of the options. So you take one of the options conveniently, and then you get into something. Then it's a stress, it is managing life, it is work, it's watch and work. Doesn't work like that. No. I mean, imagine you are a professional. A lot of these things are creative and talking, public, audience. Can you work with looking at your watch? No. The guy who is talking, sitting in front of you, either an audience or a co-presenter, will feel uncomfortable.
True.
And that will bring in stress in you, bring in stress in me.
Very true.
So I think we need to have a work where you keep your watch outside. If you do that, then you're enjoying it. And when you enjoy, there is no work. When passion becomes your profession, then you don't have to work.
Very true.
Problem is that you don't know what your passion is.
Right.
So many of these people who are not aware of what passion he or she has, that person, whatever he or she does, will move into the stress. So I don't think we should complain about the work. We should complain about me working on myself.
You should look within, beyond.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you talked about the workout part, the third one, the second and third, worship and workout. Does worship means spirituality or your personal religious views?
I think it's problem, the interviewer should not know more about the interviewee. Let me tell you, worship to me is all about passion. I don't believe in one photograph and then, lighting a garbati. I do that, but that's not what I meant by worship. Worship to me is the passion. how passionate are you about anything. It could be driving your car, it could be feeding a child, orphan, or taking care of a wounded dog on the street, or it could be anything. So passion, when you should you take a break?
No.
That's okay. So when you say worship is about giving it a different stature. So if working is your passion, or if charity is your passion, or drawing is your passion, to me that's worship. That's perfectly fine. I go at times and meet up students and talk to students, spend some time in an orphanage which we have been associated with for many years. That's my passion, and to me that's worship. I'm okay with that. I don't have to go to a temple. Of course I go to temple, but going to temple or doing some puja at home is not what I meant by that worship.
I understand. You mean to say that spirituality need not be religion based.
Not
Spirituality could be something that emanates from within.
Absolutely.
And it has different connotations for different people.
Yes.
Different design and different definitions.
Absolutely.
And for you, you don't have to be temple driven. It can be something that comes from your heart. And it could be emotionally connected also.
Yes.
And what about the workout part? But that is something which a lot of corporate professionals forget. Because they think that they will not be afflicted by any disease. Is it because of the financial freedom that they enjoy, that they think that probably നമ്മൾക്ക് അങ്ങനത്തെ അസുഖങ്ങളൊന്നും വരാൻ ചാൻസ് ഇല്ല, because I'm okay, I'm fine, I'm young, I'm hale and hearty, and I have everything that I enjoy around me, so I don't necessarily feel that I will become sick or some illness would embalm me at a certain point.
This can't happen to me.
This can't happen to me, because I'm enjoying life and I have everything. I'm good. I feel good because I'm enjoying life. I've got a lot of money. So they all get into a false sense of freedom.
A false sense of security.
A false sense of security. Correct.
I completely agree.
So how do you handle that?
So now I will come to temple. So workout is kind of, your body is, if you have to do a lot of these things, if you have to do something with the society, if you want to take care of your parents, if you want to take care of your children, if you want to have an evening with a friend of yours, you need a healthy body. Leave work for a while. And to me, I've read it somewhere, I've heard many people say that the body is a temple. Unless you keep it, clean, healthy, lights, pray, take care of it, what is the guarantee that it will take care of you? Body need not, it's not a blank check given to you. It's a very important element of your life. Your life revolves around that body. What right, and by the way, that is not your design also.
Correct. It's not your design.
What right do you have to ill-treat that body? So it's a temple. For us, you need to make sure that morning you clean, you do your required prayers there, keep it clean, evening you keep it clean, and that is definitely required, and eventually you use the same body for your work also. So you might go to office, you might be sitting in a cabin, or you might be working in the field, or you might be driving a truck, or you might be doing many things. Whatever work you do, it's important to have this temple clean, healthy, neat, so that you are able to do what exactly you want to do. So to me, that is the temple, not the worship temple.
I understand.
Workout is the temple of taking care of the body, and there's no guarantee for the validity period or no warranty and all that. That's different.
Yeah. That you leave it to existence.
That is leave it to the universe. So let it happen its way. But you have a responsibility to take this property.
Yeah. Now leaving the official side of this whole story, what is the private Narendran? What does he look like?
Actually,
every person, every individual who has had such an eventful journey in his life would also have a private person inside him and a public person inside. Now we have seen the public person. What does the private person look like?
Private person is a simple, happy-go-lucky guy. I can't take very complicated conversations. I cannot take very complicated decisions. If I'm taking decision, be sure that there's a very simple solution.
Okay.
I don't take up any difficult job. So I think my daughter she's now 20. So I think by about 10-12 years, she started learning how to get things out of me.
Okay.
So she will not come
girls,
out.
All daughters. All daughters are excellent manipulators of their fathers.
Yes. So she has learned how to quickly get things out of me. So she makes it very simple and put it across to me.
Yeah.
Then she will immediately get a response. When she tries to complicate it, or then I am kind of, hello, hold on, why don't you check with mom? So that is how my wife is still struggling after 22 years of our marriage. She's still struggling. But the reality is that I am very simple. I cannot have complications.
Okay.
If you ask me, has it been right thing to do? May not be. But I personally still believe that however simple, humble can you be, please be that. That's what I keep advising myself.
Now you are somebody who is known for being very friendly with people. Has that friendliness or that approach to life helped you in your life hitherto when you look back? Every facet of your life.
I would say it's the only that one that is, if you ask me, one constant line in my career or my life has been probably this friendly, behavior or feeling for. Why should you not be friendly with anybody? I keep asking this, how can you, why do you have to be, you can upset with a situation, but you can't be upset with a person.
True.
Because that situation may demand you to behave in certain fashion. That situation is over and that's it. And why do you have to be upset about a person? He's designed in certain fashion. And you better understand that you're also designed in certain fashion. So these two things will never, it can't be identical. So understand that reality, then I don't think you can be upset with anybody perpetually.
I understand. You shouldn't be upset, or getting upset with people, who are designed to be different, and each individual is different, and that's a great philosophy in life, because പലപ്പോഴും നമ്മൾ ചിന്തിക്കുന്നത് നമ്മളൊരാളുമായിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു ആശയ സംഘടനം ഉണ്ടാവുന്നത് രണ്ട് വ്യക്തികൾ തമ്മിലല്ല, രണ്ട് സാഹചര്യങ്ങൾ തമ്മിലുള്ള, നമ്മൾ വളർന്ന സാഹചര്യവും മറ്റേയാൾ വളർന്ന സാഹചര്യവും, നമ്മളുടെ കുടുംബാന്തരീക്ഷവും അയാളുടെ കുടുംബാന്തരീക്ഷവും, ഈ ഒരു കോൺഫ്ലിക്റ്റാണ് പലപ്പോഴും പേഴ്സണൽ കോൺഫ്ലിക്ട്സിലേക്ക് എത്തുന്നത്. അപ്പോൾ അതൊരു സാഹചര്യത്തിൻ്റെ കോൺഫ്ലിക്റ്റായിട്ട് കണക്കാക്കി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നമുക്കൊരു കോൺഫ്ലിക്റ്റേ അല്ലാതാവും എന്നുള്ളൊരു സ്പിരിച്വൽ ഒരു വെൽബീയിങ് is what that helps you drive your life, is what I understand from our chat this morning.
Absolutely.
Now, yeah. Narendran, you should be grateful to your corporate life, because you found a family from your corporate life, unlike many people. Yes. So tell us about how you benefited from the corporate world, from a personal perspective.
Yeah. So that is interesting. So actually, we Shalini and I picked up a fight over phone.
You work in the same department?
We worked not in the same department. We worked in the same organization. So I used to be in the sales. I used to be a sales manager, and she used to be in the customer care call center, and she used to manage calls. So she got some complaints, and she wanted to clarify that, and so all that happened. But more importantly, you find, so we had not met, we were only speaking over phone a couple of times, and but then I always feel that this genuinity of a person, you don't have to see a person,
True.
you can sense it.
Yeah.
You can hear it in her voice, and then when you meet, it matches. And then that becomes a serious thought-provoking, and that's the time I was ready for my marriage. She was also kind of getting ready for marriage. So the first person was our reporting manager. When I spoke to him saying that, look, we have found a girl in your team, so
You actually approached her boss,
Yeah.
her line
Yes,
manager.
Yes, I
Okay.
spoke to her managers, and then so that's how it happened. But yes, to me, I keep telling that my job has given me everything, including my wife.
Yeah, true. Money, fame,
Money.
social status,
Yeah.
and a wife.
Yeah.
And a wife.
So
Okay, well, that's nice. That's nice. So that is Narendran for us. That is Narendran who heads the state business of Geo Network. Now, I don't know how to thank him. He is somebody who we need to thank. The society has to thank for being whatever he is. ചെറുപ്പത്തിൽ കുടുംബത്തിലെ അമ്മയുടെ അനിയത്തിക്ക് വളർത്താൻ കൊടുത്ത ഒരു കൊച്ചുകുട്ടിയിൽ നിന്നും ഇന്ന് 10,000-കണക്കിന് ടേൺ ഓവറുള്ള ഒരു കമ്പനിയുടെ തലപ്പത്തിരിക്കുമ്പോൾ അദ്ദേഹത്തെ വളർത്തുന്നതും വലുതാക്കുന്നതും സാമ്പത്തിക ഉന്നതിയല്ല, സാമ്പത്തിക ശാസ്ത്രമല്ല എന്നുള്ളതിൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ തെളിവാണ് ഇത്രയും നേരം നമ്മൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കിയത്. അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ ഒരു സ്പിരിച്വൽ ജേണി, ആ ഒരു ഗ്രൗണ്ടിങ്, ആ ഒരു ഞാൻ ഇവിടെ നിന്നാണ് വരവ്, ആ ഒരു റിട്ടേൺ ടു സോയിൽ, ആ ഒരു സോയിൽ കണക്ട്, ആൻഡ് ദാറ്റ് മേക്സ് ഹിം യുണീക്ക്, ആൻഡ് ദാറ്റ് മേക്സ് ഹിം unique for our conversations this morning. And I have great gratitude to my dear old friend Narendran. May life grant you everything in life, and you just begun your life, and may the rest of your life give you love, light and abundance in everything you do. Thank you so much for being part of Conversations.
thank you, Sujil. I think to me, well-wishers and friends like you are the biggest blessings. And if I'm whatever I am today, it's all because of the well-wishers like you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that was Conversations with Narendran, the head of business of Kerala State of Geo.